Hey there. Welcome to episode 25 of the Boob Report podcast, powered by Helix Interactive. Today, I'm hanging out with Anna Leonarda, a breast cancer survivor who has taken her journey with her health struggles and created a dating app to help others. This is going to be good. Let's get started. All right. So we are incredibly excited and just so need to talk about this. Anna and I were discussing this before we came on. Communication is key. You can't solve a problem if you don't talk about it. So I am very, very grateful to have Anna on today to discuss some sort of sensitive topic, but I think it's definitely worth talking about. So Anna, welcome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for having me, Michelle.
We're glad to have you here. So we wanted to touch on how you got started and start with basically what happened to you was the catalyst was your breast cancer diagnosis, and then you just kind of moved on from there on a pretty rough journey.
Okay. So when I grew up, I ended up having endometriosis. And with endometriosis, it can cause painful intercourse and lack of libido because of painful intercourse. And over time, I developed something called vaginismus. And vaginismus is where internal penetration became impossible for me. And the muscles in the opening of my vagina were spasming. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I went to the doctor and she said that I had this vaginismus. So I was supposed to do pelvic floor therapy. And so I started working on that, which was a very tedious process. But during my treatment, I ended up getting a diagnosis of breast cancer. I was in the shower, I found a breast lump, and I ended up having 3 tumors on my left breast. And I had a double mastectomy, deep flap surgery, chemotherapy, and also a total hysterectomy. So I was already dealing with this vaginismus and the lack of libido and the painful intercourse. And when I started the chemo, my oncologist had told me that my libido was going to diminish. And I said, well, it's already non-existent as it is. I didn't think it's going to get any worse, but it did. I mean, the vaginal dryness and lack of libido, it just was amazing how it just was gone. Mm-hmm. And so I was married at the time. I was married for 20 years. I met my ex when I was in 8th grade, actually. So he was my one and only. And so I always thought, intercourse is supposed to be painful. I'm just got to deal with it. And I ended up getting divorced. So a few years ago, I got divorced, and I thought, how am I going to meet somebody that's going to understand that I can't have intercourse and I don't want to have intercourse? And it got me thinking, like, I'm too intimidated to use traditional dating apps. I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be embarrassed. They're not going to understand me, that I have these limitations. And so I thought, I'll just be single. And then, but I thought that doesn't sound like a good answer, because I mean, I've been through so much. Right. And for me to just be single and alone, I just didn't think that was the right answer. And I started doing some research with my friends, and I'm asking them, what do you do when you're going on dates? Do you find men that have erectile dysfunction? And it was very surprising that a lot of them have met men that said that they had ED, they had prostate cancer, or maybe they're on blood pressure medication, that they can't have certain types of like Viagra or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, that's not fair to them, that they're being rejected as well and embarrassed and intimidated to use traditional dating apps possibly as well. So I decided to create a dating app that takes sexual expectations out of dating. It's designed for individuals that either can't have intercourse or just prefer not to for whatever reason, whether it be medical or just personal reasons. It could be trauma as well. And even diabetics can have sexual dysfunction. So I decided to do a dating app to create a safe space for individuals like myself to be able to find companionship without the fear of being rejected or embarrassed.
Right. Oh, I think that's beautiful. There are so many individuals that I believe that are going through, what you've been through and what others are going through, and they feel like they're the only person in the world doing that. And it breaks my heart, because there are so many ways to have intimacy and have a beautiful, loving relationship with someone, that you don't necessarily have to have sex. You can work your way around that and find other ways of pleasure.
Exactly.
Communication. Again, it just
Yes,
comes down to communication.
it's true. And when I started going after I got divorced, I started going out and I was meeting some men, and they would ask me on a date, and I would say, well, I have this issue that I wanted to talk to you about prior to, because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time. And so and plus I want to talk about my app. I want to get the word out about my app as much as I can. So I say, I created this dating app, and then, so basically I can't have intercourse and I prefer not to
Mhm.
also. And I said, other intimacy I'm okay with. It's just I can't have intercourse. And, is that going to be a problem? And they're like, well, yeah, or
Yeah.
someone will be like, well, no, it doesn't matter. You have other holes.
Mhm.
It's just like the rude comments, insensitive comments I did receive was just like, and that was a common response was, you have other holes.
Yeah.
And I thought, I could handle it because I'm expect, I'm mentally prepared for it.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I'm creating the app for people that don't want to hear that. And
Yeah.
I thought, what if a woman heard that? What if a
Mhm.
guy said that to her? And I even heard that you would never make another man happy. You should never get married again. Uh, it's just, you have the perfect reason why a guy wouldn't want to be with you. And I'm just like in shock. I'm like, wow, that's just crazy how, they're very insensitive. And I know women are probably like that too with men. I don't
Mhm.
know what they're saying to them, but it's got to be really damaging,
Yeah.
mentally damaging. We're already insecure as it is, and now we're dealing with this. And so, so that's why it just confirms this is why I created Entwine, my dating app, and it's definitely needed everywhere. I mean, worldwide. Right now, it's only available in the U.S., but my goal is to have it available worldwide because I'm already having people from different countries contacting me saying that they want the app available to them as well.
Mhm. So how did this process all get started? I mean, I love the idea of the app. It falls along the same lines as a dating app, but people, when they're signing up for this, they have to be pretty open and honest about, yes, we're not, for one reason or another, uh, capable of having intercourse. So is there a questionnaire you have them fill out? How do you sort of weed through the people, if you will?
Well, what I noticed was there was actually a few people that I actually know personally that signed up for my dating app, and they don't have sexual dysfunction.
Mm-hmm.
They just rather deal with somebody that more on an emotional connection. And so with my app, I don't want anybody to feel the pressure of having to disclose why they can't have intercourse or why they prefer not to, because some of them would like to have it, but maybe they just are done dealing with that part of a relationship.
Right.
So basically with the questionnaire, there's not really a questionnaire. It just kind of says like, are you do you smoke? Do you drink? Uh, you put your zip code in to find out where the area that everybody's in, and then it's up to them at the time of when they meet if they wanted to disclose what their limitations exactly are.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it just, circling back to the insensitive comments, I think that, you've got this segment of a society that is just closed to anything. They don't want to do anything. And then there's another segment that's maybe uncomfortable and a little insecure because possibly it hits a little too close to home. And then there's others that just don't want to talk about it at all. They just, that doesn't exist, that's not a problem, and they may be suffering from that problem as well.
Right.
So it's just, I think the challenge, and tell me, is that is finding those people, kind of weeding through those different segments of society.
It has been a challenge to try to reach the male population.
Mhm.
And I have joined a lot of groups for vaginismus and pelvic floor therapists, and because it seems like the majority of the individuals there are already dealing with some type of sexual dysfunction.
Mhm.
So reaching them it doesn't seem like I'm reaching anybody that doesn't have limitations as far as I know. But again, it can be anybody that, even if they're not dealing with a sexual limitation, they have the option of using my app as well, but they should have that compassion or the understanding that there is those limitations that might be coming up.
Right, right. It's So where exactly are you? Are you in a certain area of where you live? Or have you started doing this across the country? What are your goals as far as growing this app?
Right now, it's available in the US only.
Mhm.
And um, we don't have that many users yet, but we're just working on gaining users right now and try to make it viral and hopefully reach other people that are living silently with these struggles. And it's available in the US right now. And it's my goal is to start branching off to other countries because I think it's definitely needed in other parts of the world.
Right, absolutely. Do you have a certain age range that you found is more interested, or is it pretty much across the board?
It's yeah, it means it's anywhere from 18 to 100 and something. It's just it's amazing that there are young individuals that are struggling with these limitations.
Right.
And I want to mention too that with the vaginismus that I have, you may have it, somebody may have it, and if they do, there's a cure for it.
Mhm.
I wanted to cure myself for myself. I don't want to cure for anybody else. And I just chose just not to deal with the physical therapy that's with that. But even like with erectile dysfunction, I mean, there's people that can have surgery, implants, and maybe they don't want to go through the surgery. So maybe this is an option for them to use this app instead. But so it's I have been told that this is a dead end app. Um, so when I talk to some doctors, they'll say, well, we want to cure these patients. We don't want, this is your app's a dead end app. I'm like, it's not really a dead end app because I don't want to be cured. So
Mhm.
now I have this app that I can use when I'm ready to enter the dating world. And so it's definitely it's needed. I know it's
Oh
needed,
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little blown away by doctors saying that, because there are, I understand the need to cure
Mhm.
and help individuals, but maybe they want the pain taken away, but maybe the sex part of it, the actual intercourse, the act of it, is something that they wouldn't miss. They don't care.
Right.
So even if they were cured of something, they may not want to have sex again. So
Right.
having this app available for them, I think, would be absolutely amazing, because then they know that there are other people out there that understand and that they can talk to. And even if
Mhm.
they don't end up dating that person, maybe they've made a great new friend,
It's true.
you
Hmm.
know?
Definitely.
Because I mean, I think that's what everybody needs. You need someone in your life, whether it's a significant other, a friend, a family member, or whatever, someone that you can talk to and understands what you're going through. And I can see where something like that can cause some depression.
Hmm.
Did you find
It's
that with?
true.
Yeah.
Well, I thought about veterans that
Mhm.
they're going through PTSD and they're on antidepressants and and a lot of them are suicidal. And I started trying to do some research to find out why are they suicidal? Is it because they have sexual dysfunction and they can't find companionship? And I did notice that there were some, I don't know the exact statistics, but there's a lot of individuals, men and women, that have gone to a therapist prior to committing suicide, and
Mhm.
their complaint was that they can't find anybody, or they're lonely and they don't have anybody because nobody will want somebody that has sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, or vaginismus, or whatever it is. But that's not true. It's just that's why I want to reach everybody that I can as much as fast as possible. But it's it's a struggle trying to get everybody at once to hear about Entwine. But I want to save lives in a way. I mean, it's for people to even think about that. I mean, I'm on some erectile dysfunction discussion groups, and just looking what these men are saying, and they're like, well, why am I living anymore? I'm alone. No one's going to want me. I have ED,
Mhm.
or my wife left me, or the other way around. The vaginismus groups, my boyfriend or my ex-husband or whatever it is, they left me. They're tired of waiting. They're not patient, and maybe they're forceful because they just don't want to, they don't understand that it's just, there's just people that are struggling and silently, and for them, when I hear that, I want to take my life. I don't want to live anymore. It's just heartbreaking to see that.
Yeah. Oh God, I can't even imagine. It's Well, and sex in America is such a taboo subject anyway, which
Mhm.
is, find so ridiculous. Now, granted, I was raised Catholic, so you just didn't talk about it. You didn't have sex before marriage, and all
Right.
this good stuff, which is total BS. But I'm 55 years old, and I still have a little bit of issues and insecurities about my sexuality. Luckily, my husband is
I'm
very
frozen.
comfortable. Yeah, he's very comfortable with his sexuality, and he's very patient and comfortable with me. It was hard, for me to feel attractive after my bilateral mastectomy. If I had been single, I'm not sure if I ever would have been intimate with anyone ever again. I've got scars that just are not attractive. And luckily, I've got a pretty amazing man who loves me no matter what. So I can understand the depression and the struggle of trying to find someone and share some intimacy with them when you're so uncomfortable with.
Oh, what
Yeah,
happened?
that was interesting. The internet sort of shut off, but we're just going to keep going.
Okay. All right. Let me put my airplane plane mode on here.
Yeah, we're just gonna go with it. I'm not quite sure what happened. All of a sudden, bam, we both just disappeared.
Oh, okay. All
you,
right.
you gotta love modern technology. But before we got cut off, I was saying, I can't really imagine, the the hardship and sort of the depression that can cause of going through something and being uncomfortable with your own body and then being rejected by someone else because they're not, they don't have the sympathy, or they can't understand what you're going through.
Yeah, it's I had to talk to somebody that's like, well, yeah, I think I could be with you. I don't think I need sex. And I'm like, well, no, don't convince yourself, because then I'm going to start thinking, okay, I know there's a cure for this. Maybe I have to go through treatment, and I don't want to, I don't want that pressure. So
Hmm.
even if a guy did tell me, I don't need this, I don't have to have intercourse or whatever however he would word it, uh, I would not feel comfortable, because I would know that I would never believe, I guess, that they truly did not, they weren't missing out on it, and maybe they would get it somewhere else, and
Right.
but that's just me, how I think nowadays. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Well, and I mean, I can absolutely respect that. Some people, you hear stories of that person left because, the physical aspect of the relationship was no longer happening. They just sort of took the whole sex thing for granted. But again, there's so many other different ways to be intimate and have that relationship with someone, a physical relationship with someone, without actually having intercourse.
yes, absolutely. There's holding hands, there's cuddling, there's kissing, and there's just so many different, even long conversations. I mean, there's so many different types of intimacy, and it doesn't have to have the intercourse involved.
Right. So what is as you're going forward, you're looking at, big picture, what is your goal? Obviously to help people, but just big picture, what are you looking at, and where do you see you going with with the app?
I would love it to be available in all the urologist offices for people that are about to have prostate surgery, so that, if they are worried about uh, if they're going to be impotent after their procedures, so they know that they have that option, and even gynecologist offices. I want it available at all these medical professionals, because it's, I mean, like I said, I want to kind of save everybody, but and then my ultimate goal is to have it available worldwide,
Yeah.
definitely, because for me to have to tell, I mean, even with like a few countries, for me to tell them it's not available in your country yet, I want to make sure that it's, it's definitely, working properly in the US first, and then I'll branch out to other countries, but they're like desperate. They reach out to me again, are you sure? Can you please just try? I'm like, what's holding you back? I'll help you. And I'm like, no, not yet. So that's my ultimate goal, is just to have it available worldwide, and for me not to have to tell someone, no, it's not available at your country or in your country.
Right. Well, I think that that's amazing that people are actually reaching out to you from other countries, and they really want this to become available, and are even kind of stepping up and saying, what can we do, to help out? I think that I truly believe that there's a need out there. I know, you and I talked the first time, and I really honestly believe that there is a need out there, and that there are so many people that would love to be able to use this app and know that they're not alone, and that there are, other people that will understand what they're going through and what they're experiencing. Yeah.
It's definitely needs to go viral somehow.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you've been working really hard on this, and we're going to share all of the information, from with links and things like that people can go check out. And we'll like I said, I'd love to check back in with you, keep our fingers crossed in any way that we can help you, because I really do think that this is a valuable tool, and it could be really huge. I personally think that I'm helping. That was my goal with my experience with breast cancer, was to create the Boob Report, the website resource for women, so that they could find, services in their area. And I think what you're doing is beautiful, because you've taken that personal experience and you're showing people that there is a way out, that there is something that they can do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well,
the app is actually free too. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
So it's a free app, and it'll right now all the premium features are also free. Down the road there'll be charges for it, but it's definitely functional as a free app, and so no one has nothing to lose. If you want to use it, fine. Right. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely tap on there, and we will have the link in our episode notes. So yeah, we will have that available. All right, Anna, thank you so much. I appreciate
Michelle.
your time, and I look forward to having you back. I would love to have you back in the future, so that you can tell us all the amazing things and how much it's grown, and that you are moving into other countries.
Yes, that'll be great. Thank you so much.
We're gonna think positive and get you out there, girl.
Yes, that's right. You too.
All right. Well, thanks again.
Thank you, Michelle.
I love this. Anna is truly amazing, and she is doing something so incredible to help other people. We have links and information where you can learn more about her on our website at www.theboobreport.com/podcast, episode 25 show notes. And a very big thank you to all of you for spending time with us today. Be sure to like and follow us, and definitely share the podcast with your friends. You can become an active listener and support this podcast by clicking on the podcast link on our website at theboobreport.com. Take care.